This is Art Talk with April, an artist podcast where we meet artists from all around the southeastern states. Thanks for joining us. Let's get started. Hi everyone, welcome to Art Talk with April. Today we have Jennifer Alexander, who is Hello Cute Illustrations. She's a color pencil artist, but also does a little watercolor on the side. And I'm so thrilled to talk to you today, Jennifer. This is awesome because we've kind of interacted with each other for a few years. I think it's the color pencil thing that we're just like, hey, there's somebody else nearby doing some color pencil. But I'm so excited to talk to you. And I was just looking at your Instagram and all your latest stuff. And I'm like, wow, this is so cool. So how did you get started in art? Did you start when you were little or go to school or what's your story there?
Yeah, so I started when I was little. I loved drawing from a really young age. I think partially because my grandfather, he wasn't like an artist or anything, but he would always draw with me. And it was just kind of like our thing. We played this game where he would like start drawing something and I would be like trying to guess what he was going to draw.
Oh,
And so that was kind of like, I think there was a little bit of interest built there. And then also my dad, he really enjoyed watching Bob Ross. I mean, this is in the 80s. And so like I have very distinct, or at least one distinct memory of him painting along with Bob Ross. And you see, I have a little Bob Ross back there. And he then took it to our neighbor who was an artist and like had him critique it, I guess. I don't remember much about that part, but I just know our neighbor was an artist too, and we did spend a little bit of time with him. And he ended up being kind of a well-known artist in his community. But so yeah, so I just was kind of exposed to it. Both of my parents were into music, and so I guess there was just kind of like a creative vibe in our house. And so thankfully, I just always was kind of encouraged in that. And then I would say probably around, well, the first drawing I drew, which was recognizable, my mom said, it was a bunny. I drew a bunny and a turtle, and my parents could recognize it. And I think I was around 2 or 3. And I mean, it was not good, but it was still,
yeah, but
they
you
could tell
knew
what
what
it
it
was.
was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And so I think from that point on, I was just encouraged to draw if I wanted to. And I remember going to like Sanrio Surprise, like the Hello Kitty shop,
Yeah.
and getting like little notepads and little things that had the characters on them, and I just loved like trying to replicate those and draw them.
Oh,
So that was like, yeah, that was a lot. And then I grew up in the Nashville, Tennessee area.
okay.
And thankfully, I mean, we just had art every year. There was not a year in school where I didn't have art. Yeah. So, like through elementary school and then middle school and then high school. And in middle school, I had a really great teacher and he just really encouraged me in I wasn't like, I actually wasn't doing a lot of drawing at that time. It was more, we would make things and he just saw like some creativity there. And so he just really encouraged me to pursue it. And then when I got to high school, my art teacher was just so great and also just like really encouraged me. And she got me more into drawing and shading and just really built an interest there with that. So yeah, that was kind of my journey into art. It was just always kind of there. I was always doing it.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
I think it's fantastic when the grown-ups are around that are, picking up on that and
Mm-hmm.
actually encouraging it and being aware that it's something that you may have naturally been inclined towards,
Yeah.
so little. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, for
Um,
sure.
that's really cool. And so did you go to college or anything like that after that?
Yeah, so after I graduated high school, I did take a year off because I wasn't really sure. I also
Yeah.
was very involved in like in my church growing up.
Yeah.
And so I kind of went like more of a ministry path at first.
Okay.
And then I went to Christian school, I went to Union University. And once I got there, because like I just thought I couldn't do anything with art. Like I really didn't
Mhm.
think I was good enough to pursue it at the
Yeah.
college level. So I just kind of put it to the side. I was going to major in psychology and, but once I got there, we had a chapel and this man came and spoke and he was talking about just like he was talking about something to do with the arts. And it was
Yeah.
really interesting. And I was like it really kind of spoke to me. And I went that day. I really wish I could remember like the details, but I went that day and changed my major to art after that chapel
Wow.
and
Wow.
never looked back. So I majored in art and specifically drawing and
Yeah.
painting. But drawing has just always been my thing. Like
Yeah.
that's what I love the most is drawing.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, I enjoy painting,
Mhm.
but something about like the texture of paper and pencil
Yes.
or the way that, like color pencil in particular, like has a transparency and you
Hmm.
sort of you use different colors or layer different
Hmm.
colors and the way you can see kind of the other colors. But I don't know. I may be talking like a foreign language to non-color pencil people, but I love that way more than painting.
Oh
Paintings
yeah.
it's fun.
Hmm.
I've never really, gotten into that. So like when you were in school, were you like when I look at your work, I feel like it's sort of like spaces and still lifes and like flora, fauna, that kind of thing. Were you doing that then when you were in school, or how did those subject matters become part of your work?
Mhm. Actually, in college, I did more portrait type stuff.
Oh, okay.
In fact, my we had to do a senior show where we had like the whole gallery to ourselves.
Yeah.
And I did these large, like 18 by 24 portraits of my friends.
Wow.
It was a very dark and moody show, but I had like portraits of my friends. They were in black and white, and then the backgrounds were painted like a color. It was very early 2000s. And then I had ripped them up,
Yeah.
sewn them back together, and like had to where like you had to walk through string to get to the portrait.
Oh, that's
It was
cool.
it was very very interesting. But my little early 20-year-old brain was I don't know what I was thinking about it. But anyway, so that was kind of my focus was more on like portraits and drawing face. Like I loved drawing eyes and mouths and just like different facial features. I always did like kind of zooming in on
Yeah.
things but I mean, I did always like still life too. We
Yeah.
just didn't do a lot of it in college. And I feel like where I went, it was more independent. Like we did have a couple of classes that were more structured, like this is what we're going to do, this is what we're going to work
Yeah.
on. But I don't remember doing like a big still life, maybe like in the first drawing class I took, but that really came later, I think. So,
Yeah. That's interesting. Well, how did you come about going in that direction then? Like, were you inspired by another artist
hmm.
or I mean, like, why still lifes or why spaces
Yeah. Well, as far as like
or
faces,
landscapes even?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I just well, okay, so I was a teacher
Yeah.
for 14 years. I taught like after I think I started teaching in 2008. I taught art.
Okay.
And I think it was during that like I really started kind of finding the subject matter that I really liked. I mean, even though I do like drawing portraits still, there's just something about capturing like the texture of an object or like the shine. Like I love in the latest still life drawing that I did, it had a lot of reflection in
Yeah.
it, like a lot of really highly reflective surfaces. And I always really liked that. I did do a project in high school where I drew myself reflecting in an iron,
Yeah.
like a an iron that you iron clothes with. And I just loved that project. And so I think it probably was one of my better drawings from high school. And so yeah, I mean, I guess I just like always really liked, yeah, just drawing the
Textures of things.
objects.
Yeah.
And then I love I mean, I love the beauty of the earth and like just, seeing things. Like I'll see some things. This is kind of where the landscapes came in because I just started doing landscapes. I was
Mhm.
like, landscape and color pencil, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's kind of a lot,
Yeah.
but I was like, I would capture these moments, with a camera and I would just like be like, I have to draw that. Like there was just this pull to draw it. And so that's kind of how the landscape series came
Oh.
about. And then with the interior spaces, that like I was always very into like houses and interior decorating and stuff growing
Mhm.
up. I subscribed to like Elle Decor and a
Wow.
bunch of like house magazines when I was in high school.
Yeah.
And like my friends and I would drive around looking at houses. There was like, I mean, I kind of always thought I would be an architect or something, but that
Yeah.
was a little too much math for
Yeah.
me. So I didn't pursue that. But I mean, I did always just love like houses. I always loved the idea of like secret rooms. I would have these very elaborate dreams as a child of like opening a door into like this like really grand room that
Yeah.
would be decorated really beautifully. And so that's kind of where my, I guess, love for interior spaces came from.
Oh, that's
Was just
interesting.
that. So,
I feel like that's a lot of perspective too. So
mm,
you've got to, as
oh
far as
yeah.
getting your objects into the
Hmm.
space and it looking like correct. I have a hard time with that sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
I mean, I definitely did have a hard time until I started teaching and like it's not that we were required like I never had a curriculum. I mean, I just
yeah.
made my curriculum. But a lot of times, like when I would look at projects, I would see these perspective projects, and I was like, "Ooh, I don't know. I don't know about teaching that. I didn't really learn that." And I think I learned 1 point perspective, but it was a very basic,
Yeah.
overview. And so but I wanted to teach it to the students,
Yeah.
and so I just taught myself how to do it, and that is another part of why I love doing the interior spaces is because I really do love drawing in perspective. I mean, I don't know, like I just love to create that depth on the page and, trying to figure out like where the lines are going to go. And it's just like
Yeah.
kind of like a puzzle.
Yeah, and
So,
you do a great job. I mean,
well,
it
thank
really looks like you could just step into that room or whatever. It's like,
thank you.
okay. Because a lot of times, like I can't remember this, there's this artist that keeps coming across my
Mm,
social media and it's interesting because they're very popular artists with some
mm,
people,
mm.
but their perspective is off. And I think they do it
Oh,
on purpose. And I'm
mhm.
like, okay, I don't understand. Like like where's the line where you're
Hmm.
like doing it correctly and then doing it so off that suddenly
Mm.
it's good again? I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's been one of those things that I've always kind of struggled with a little bit. And
Mm,
I was taught that in school,
mm.
but you do it really well.
Well,
And I
thank
was
you.
going to say, like the reflective element of your work, you can tell that too, that you really are truly looking at those objects
Mm,
and focusing in on those textures and the way things, the light and the way it's like I don't know, what would you call it? The like the fractal way
mm.
that the light changes and the
Yeah,
colors and
yeah.
everything. I just love that. That is so awesome.
Well, thank you.
So, like, I took a look at your website and everything, beautiful website, and I think you're selling prints of your work. Are you doing like gallery shows and things like that or festivals?
Yeah, so I've done a few festivals, kind of taken a break from that. Just
Yeah.
it's been a bit of a journey with that. Like it's sometimes I've done really well and then other times it's like, oh, I wasted all this money doing this.
Yeah, yeah.
But I mean, I really do love it. Like I mean, I personally think it would be fun to like run a gallery or have a shop. And
Mhm.
so it's fun to like have that set up and everything, but it can be discouraging when you don't sell stuff or people don't want to come into your
Mhm.
booth. And anyway, so I mean, I plan to do more, but I just needed a little break after the
Yeah.
last one I did.
I hear you
And
there.
yeah.
I've had an experience like that.
Hmm.
It was really
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah.
And it may have been like almost 2 years ago since I've
Mm,
done any show like that because of
mm.
that one experience.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I get it. That's,
It was a terrible outdoor
Mm.
show. I don't know how
Mhm.
people do that. I mean, like you got to be prepared for all environments.
Mhm.
And then
Yeah.
you do invest a lot. And I
Mhm.
think, I was talking with another artist about this. A lot of people go to events like that for entertainment versus
Mm.
actual shopping. And
Yeah.
so you kind of feel like, I don't know, like people will walk by and talk about your stuff as if you're not standing there. And you're like, what?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you're just like blending into the back of the tent or something. I don't know,
Yes.
but they
Yes.
they say interesting stuff and it's okay, but
Yeah.
it's quite the experience.
It is.
I would not blame you for taking a break.
Yeah.
I've been on a 2 year break. What
Yeah.
happened? What was the event like that had you feel
It
like,
was
I need to step back for a minute?
it was just kind of it was a new leadership had taken it over.
Yeah.
And this was their first year leading it. And so I think there were just some communication things that were missed.
Difficult. Yeah.
And I mean, I'm pretty like, I like to try to be on time. Obviously, I'm not always on time, but like, I like to plan ahead. I'm a
Yeah.
planner.
Yeah.
And so like it was just a lot of things just felt like up in the air. And
Mhm.
but then we had these really specific instructions, and then yet we got there and it seemed like very chaotic and nobody
Oh.
really knew. And I was trying to follow the directions that were on the paper and they weren't really going by that. But then the next day, so I never unload my artwork because I don't want it to like get messed up overnight, like with dew or anything like that. So I always
Yeah.
just take it the next day. This was one where you sat up the day before. And so, anyway, on the instruction sheet, it had said that you had to be done unloading by 8:30, but it didn't say like what time the unloading started. So I thought, okay, well, we'll get there at like 8:15. We'll unload. I'll get everything set up. The thing didn't start until 10, I think. So
Wow.
anyway, so we got there at 8:15
Oh
and they had closed all the roads to the place where our tents were set up.
my
And we
God.
went to several barricades and we're trying to explain like this is what the paper said. It said we had to be out by 8:30. Never said what time we had to be in. And they were like, we're sorry, the roads were closed at 8 o'clock. So they were only letting people out. Like if you had gotten your car in there before 8 o'clock, that was fine. You had until 8:30. They would let your car out.
Wow.
So we ended up having to go, we found the closest parking lot available and ended up just having to carry all my artwork. Thankfully,
Wow.
a couple pulled up. I was upset. I was like crying. This couple pulled
Yeah.
up and they were so sweet. They came over and they were like, "Can we help you?" And so anyway, they did help us carry
Oh,
my
that's
stuff,
so nice.
which helped a lot, and that was really sweet. But that particular event was 2 hours away.
Oh my goodness. That's a lot.
We had to like, obviously stay in a hotel. So the expenses, were just way higher than
Yeah.
it. And everyone kept saying like the girl beside us, like the booth beside us, even one of the security guards when I was cleaning up. I mean, he said that was one of the lower number of years they've had. Like people just didn't come out like they usually
Yeah.
do. So that was
Oh
that
man.
experience.
Yeah. That's pretty rough. I hear
Yeah.
you there.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that I found as an artist having to set up and be prepared and everything. And I mean, like we as artists, we're preparing for weeks, months for this thing that we've signed up
Hmm.
for
Hmm.
and made a deposit or whatever it
Hmm.
is. And we've planned out our booth and where things are going to hang or whatever. And it's so stressful all the way up
Yeah.
until when it opens up.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
And then you need to be like in a good mood and like want to
Hmm.
talk to people and want to be friendly and engaging, but you're exhausted already.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or in your
Yes.
case, you have a really terrible time getting in and getting it set up in
Hmm.
the first place for whatever kooky
Hmm.
rules that they have.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh my gosh, like I just
Yeah.
I could imagine. Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
That sounds so rough.
Yeah, it
I
was.
don't know. I
Yeah.
I don't know how people do it. I do know some artists that is the way that they make their
Hmm.
living.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I
And
know.
I don't know. I don't know how they do it.
Hmm.
But I'm like you. I think in my mind that I want to try again. And I don't know. I
Hmm.
just haven't like bit the bullet to do that. You know,
Yeah.
you have those moments where like in my case, I was set up next to like it was sort of a punk rock thing.
Mm.
And I was first of all, I was arguing with my husband the whole time
No.
getting there.
Yeah.
We're fussing back and forth. So we're already irritated, and then we're irritated setting up the tent and getting everything out. And we were running a little bit late, not terribly late, but a little bit more than I
Mm.
would have wanted
Mm.
to be late. And I was very stressed out.
Mm.
And then they set my booth, my spot was, it was the first time that I ever had my own tent or set up my own tent. And then the spot was right next to the stage where all of these very loud,
Yeah.
near some of them nearly metal
Mm.
bands were playing. And dude, I'm in my 40s. I can't hear the person sometimes talking to me in a quiet room. And
Yeah.
I'm next
Yep. I know.
like
Yep.
the whole time it just felt like a huge headache. Like, and then
Hmm.
it was raining and windy, and
Oh
I was like,
gosh.
holy crap, most of my work is paper. What am I gonna
Ugh.
do?
Yeah, that is a risk for sure. Yeah.
I can't
Yep.
imagine if I had trouble like parking and being able to get the artwork to my spot.
Hmm.
On top of that would be just like I
Yeah.
probably would have given up. I mean, good on
Yeah.
you for
I wanted
shutting
to.
up.
I
Dude.
almost was like, you know what? Let's just go home. We'll come back
Yeah.
for the tent later.
Yeah. I mean, and I probably would have been so mad at whoever was doing the thing
Mm.
that was like setting up barricades and making the plans or
Hmm.
something. But I mean, what can you do? I guess
Yeah. Yeah.
it is what it is. I like to talk about this stuff
Hmm.
because I think it's important for other artists to be like, oh, yeah, like that is how
Hmm.
I felt, or that is
Yeah.
what I went through. And
Hmm.
I spent all this money on the tables and the tent and everything, and I didn't know what to do, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Some artists really make it look easy.
They
They
do.
do.
It really, yes.
It's fascinating.
I know.
So you're not doing the festival thing. Are
Mm.
you doing, do you have your work any place or are you selling online? Like how are you going about like I guess selling work or showing work? What do
Mhm.
you do there?
So mostly I do sell all my work for the most part is on my website.
Okay.
And like I have prints, I have cards, and then I have all the originals posted on there.
Yeah.
Unless an original is in a show, which like right now, my bird series. So I did a bird series, Birds and Blooms series, and all of those pieces are at the Kelly in Wetumpka, Alabama. And they have a art and bloom show every year. I think, I don't know how many years they've done it, but I think this is, well, I don't want to say because I don't know how long they've done it. This may be their first year, but I got the impression that it was maybe their second or third year, maybe more.
Yeah.
But I do really like the Kelly. I think they do a really good job of promoting local artists
Yeah.
and they have a lot of really good shows throughout the year. So I do like to put stuff there. And they had like a 4x6 show last year that I did. And
Now, where is the Kelly at in Wetumpka? I'm just
it's
curious.
It's right at the edge, like downtown
Mhm.
Whittier. So if you go into downtown and you like go to the very back corner, it overlooks the lake or yeah, I guess it's the lake back there. There's like I don't know how to describe it. There's a restaurant called Coach's Corner
Yeah.
and it's right beside that.
So like the opposite direction of like the big bridge.
You can see the bridge from the Kelly. And if you're on the bridge, you can see the Kelly. So like, but it's across the river
Yeah,
from the
okay.
bridge. So
That's
it's really
cool.
pretty. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really nice. And this past year actually for the past 2 years, I've done the wildlife art competition,
Oh,
which is really
yeah.
cool. I mean, it's a very specific thing. And they usually release the list for the wildlife that you can draw. So they have very specific things that you can draw for this festival or for this art show.
Yeah.
And I think they usually release that around this time of year or maybe a little bit later. But
Is
anyway,
that
so
the
I did
one
that.
that's like with a, is it like a preserve or is that with the,
Yeah, I cannot remember what.
it's like a wildlife garden, something gardens or
Mhm.
something?
It's like the wildlife.
They've been doing
It's a
that for,
wildlife association thing.
yeah, it's been like a really long time they've been doing
Hmm.
that.
Oh yeah, this one's been going on for a while.
Because
Yeah.
I used to live in Prattville and I'm
Oh,
like,
okay.
I remember something like that when I was in like
Mhm.
high school.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean it has been going on and it's a really good show and it's
Yeah.
like so this past year I did a quail or they were well, now I'm drawing a blank on what they were. They were
I love
quail.
your birds. You do beautiful birds
Thank
too,
you.
which
Thank
is
you.
a whole nother texture, really,
Yeah.
that you
Yeah.
have to kind of
Hmm.
accomplish with color pencil and those
Yeah.
feathers and that, the
Hmm.
feeling of if they're in a tree, the bark and the leaves and
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I think that is, I do like drawing wildlife and birds and animals, really, for that
yeah,
matter. Like, just because I think a lot of the things I like to draw, a lot of times it's because it's a challenge and like I just like the challenge of it.
yeah,
And so I think, yeah, with like feathers and
yeah.
fur
I
and
feel
things like
exactly
that.
the same way. I wonder if
Yeah.
a lot of like drawing artists
Mm-hmm.
are just really into that challenge of texture and like trying to capture the thing, whatever it is.
Yeah, that is, I mean, I think that is an interesting connection. Like, I think so. I mean, I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
I
I mean,
feel
I
like,
feel that way. I don't know.
yeah, I feel like people I've known who are really good at drawing, like students I had that were really good at
Yeah.
drawing, they were very, technically minded a lot of times. And just, I feel like I'm like that. I mean, that's why I like to use a grid. I like, just the technical aspect
Yeah.
of art. And I like the control of
Oh,
drawing.
yeah,
Like, I feel
absolutely.
like I have way more control than I do with a brush for whatever reason.
Yeah. And
So,
it's a much more time consuming thing
hmm.
because you're working with the tip of the pencil
Yeah.
and then you're not just layering the page one time, you're going
Hmm.
over it and over it and
Oh
over it.
yeah.
Like, I mean, by the time you're done with something, maybe you've already drawn it 100 times.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you're doing it over and over again and adding
Hmm.
different colors and shading and
Yeah.
so you just mentioned that you like to use a grid. Do you do that with all of your work? Like do you have a photo reference and then you do like the grid aspect to like blow it up or what's your process there?
Yeah, I do use a grid for
It's very
most
realistic.
everything. Yeah, thank you. I do use a grid for most everything I do. I can't think of, like if I'm doing a landscape, I won't do like a full grid.
Interesting.
But for me, like a grid, because I do care about, like, I want my drawing to look real. I mean, I
Yeah.
want it to still look like a drawing, but I want it to look as close to realistic as I can get it as a
Yeah.
drawing. But because of that, that's why I like to use a grid because it just helps me get everything, in the right place and it helps me to focus. Like sometimes I can be, and especially as I get older, like just my eyes seem to bounce around more or something. And so it helps me to be able to like hone in on a certain area and not get distracted by, because I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna look at this square.
Uh,
Um,
yeah,
and
you're speaking my language there. I've been doing that too. What is
yeah.
that? I think it's something that happens a lot for me, particular when I'm doing digital. And I
Mm.
think the
Mhm.
reason, and because like I'm trying to capture like a color pencil sort of thing digitally,
Mhm. Yeah.
and I don't have to worry about, I guess, like smudging or like pencil shavings or
Mm.
some kind of little bit of pigment that gets smeared
Oh
or
yeah.
something like that,
Yes.
which makes it where able to just be like, ooh, I want to draw hair today, or I want to
Mm.
draw the trees today, or whatever,
Mhm.
feeling. I can skip around and it's gotten to where I've got sort of it's become a routine to do that. But
Mm.
I'm also trying to do drawing as well traditionally, and you can't do
Mhm.
it that way. You really
Yeah.
can't. You might mess it up real bad.
Yeah.
And then you're
Yeah.
like, oh God, what am I gonna do?
Mhm.
So I see what you're saying. I mean, like I'm one of those artists that would definitely be the one that would like not realize there was a bit of sharpening on my
Yeah.
paper and it just went right across the
Yep.
page, you know?
hmm I've done that so many times. And I mean, if the piece is big enough, and this is why I'm liking drawing on bigger paper, I
Yeah.
can usually salvage that. Like I can usually get that to cover up depending on what color it was.
Oh, yeah.
But I've
And that's
definitely,
a challenge too.
yeah, yeah.
It can be fun
Yeah.
if you feel like you can do it.
Right, right. Yeah, for sure. Like I know like there are certain times when it's really stressful. I mean, there have definitely been times when I've smeared something or smudged something to the extent where I had to start over. And that is another kind of hard thing about colored pencil is if you get to a certain point where you've run out of layers of paper, you really can't go back
Yeah.
and you really do have to just start again.
Yeah.
So I always try to start with a thing that might be like if I'm drawing a portrait, because I do commissions of portraits for people
Yeah.
still, like I'll start with the face that might look the most challenging. Because I'm like, if I mess this up, then and I've done all the other faces and they look great,
Yeah.
then I'm gonna have to start
Oh,
over,
that's an interesting point. Yeah.
So that's been really helpful to see
Yeah.
that.
What kind of pencils do you use and what kind of paper do you use?
Pencils, I've pretty much kind of narrowed down to Prismacolor, Premier, Caran d'Ache, Luminance, and Polychrome, Faber-Castell Polychromos. Those are the main ones I like. And I like them for different reasons. Like the Prismacolors, they're just very, well, first of all, they're affordable.
No, they're not as
They,
expensive.
yeah, I feel like they go on and blend a little bit smoother than some of the other ones. I like the Faber-Castell polychromos for like really fine details because you can get them really, really sharp and they hold their point because they're harder. Pencil and then the Caran d'Ache. Well, if I could just use Caran d'Ache, I probably would, but they're very expensive. And but they do kind of a little bit of both. They're kind of like they have a good, I feel like their colors are more realistic, and that's what I like about their stuff. Whereas like Prismacolor is very vibrant. I feel like their colors are very like poppy and vibrant. Whereas Caran d'Ache is a little more subtle and more like the natural world.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
also don't have as many colors in Caran d'Ache, but I think they have recently come out with like a
That's
new
interesting.
like they've expanded their selection.
Yeah.
So that's colored pencils. I've tried a few different other brands like Holbein, which is, I mean, I
Mm.
like those. They're fine. And there's another one. I've also tried the Caran d'Ache Pablo. I like them. I like
Yeah.
they're just not quite, they're like, again, they're more of like a good, sharp, like if you have like a really small detail that you want to do and you really
Mm.
need to get into like a corner or something, they're very good for that.
Yeah.
But coloring like a large surface, they can kind of come off a little patchy looking.
Mm.
Now, paper, that is, I still haven't really narrowed down like
Complicated.
paper.
Yeah.
I've tried so many different papers. I think the closest I've come lately is the Strathmore
Mhm.
500 multimedia. I really like that, but that's better for drawing like if you're going to draw bigger stuff. For really small stuff, it's very hard because it's very got a lot of tooth on it.
Mm.
Oh, like it's just very textured. But I do a lot of my small drawings that I do on social media, I've done them on that paper. And I mean, that's fine. It's just I tend to lose some of the details when I do there. And then I did a drawing on, can't remember what I did, but I did a drawing on like I think it was a Strathmore 400 drawing paper, and I really liked that. And the still life I did was on a Canson art board, and I
Oh,
really liked that. But it's very textured, and some you can
yeah.
kind of see some of the texture of the paper through the color pencil, which is I
Yeah.
kind of like it. At first, I didn't like it, but it kind of grew on me. So
Yeah.
I think I would use it
That's
again.
so interesting. So I think I've tried some of those, not the art board. I haven't tried any art board or
Mhm.
anything like that. But the thing that I've found that I like a lot is hot press watercolor paper.
Oh, okay.
And that's because it's really smooth. But
Yeah.
then it's really thick too. So it
hmm
can really take a lot, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not gonna like tear on you or, wear out fast. And I
I
lean
can-
towards the smooth for whatever reason.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Um,
mean, I definitely like a smoother, I think
there,
naturally I do like a smoother paper.
well, I mean, there are color pencil artists that like the texture of
Mm-hmm.
the rougher textured kind of
Mm-hmm.
papers to get that, I guess, that grainy kind of look to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's interesting. And I've noticed that I think you do a lot more layers than I do. You do
Mm.
like to where, I don't know even how to describe it. I wouldn't say glossier, but like, more
Mm-hmm.
solid coverage of the color
Mm-hmm.
pencil.
Yeah.
Do you mix your color pencils or do you just stick with one? Like if you're working on a piece, are you just using, let's say, Prismacolor for that? Or do you, I guess, switch them out depending on what you're drawing in that drawing?
I use them all together. Like I don't,
Really?
yeah, like I
They
use
do
all the
okay
different.
like that.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, they layer really well. Now, I mean,
I've never tried, so I'm just
yeah,
like
I
picking your
can't
brain.
remember.
Like,
I feel like Faber-Castell, the polychromos are better on top. Like if you're gonna put any of them, like layer them on top of each other, like you want to put I can't remember though, so I don't want to say for sure. I'd have to
yeah.
go back and try it out. But there is a little bit of a learning curve with layering
Mm.
them. Prismacolor and Caran d'Ache luminance do really well together. I just know that the polychromos you have to do a little bit of a different layering order. But I mean, I've never
Are the
like
Caran d'Ache wax or oil based?
I was trying to remember that. I would
That
have
might
to
have
look.
to
I
do
would
with
have
it.
to look up
Yeah.
what they are. But I mean, yeah, like the drawing I just finished, the still life, it was all a mixture of
Oh
different
wow.
color pencils. It's not, I mean, I just kind of like interchange them as I'm going.
Yeah.
Um,
That
and I
probably
do,
really opens up like your choices as far as color mixing and that kind of thing.
yeah, yeah. And that is why I like to mix them because I think, you can't like I don't like to just use the straight color pencil color.
Mm.
I mean, I like to kind of mix them until I get like a color. Now, occasionally I will. Like I recently did a chart of all my color pencils, which
Yeah.
actually has made it easier to go to look at my reference and be like,
Yeah.
oh, here's, this is what this color looks like. Sometimes I'll look at my reference on my iPad and Procreate,
Yeah.
and you can like hold down on the picture and it'll like show you the color that
Hmm.
it is. And so I'll do that and like be like, oh, okay, so I need to find this color. Or if it's not exactly that, I'll kind of imagine what mixing a couple of colors would look like or
Yeah.
how to get to that color.
I
So
think that that would be really good for other color pencil artists too, and myself. I haven't
mm.
done it, but I know that looking at a color pencil and coloring it, it's not
Yeah.
necessarily going to be the same as
No.
whatever like the pencil itself or the lead
Hmm.
looks like. You don't know
Yeah.
unless you have it like already
Yes.
colored
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
sample.
It definitely has. And I made a video about it. I think I made like a short or it was on all the things,
Yeah.
Instagram and YouTube, but about how I decided to categorize my color pencils and like have a catalog of them in my sketchbook. And I
Awesome.
was like, why did I wait so long to do this? Because
Yeah.
it is like you're right. You cannot look at a color pencil and tell exactly what that color. It does not look the same. The barrel color is not going to look exactly like what comes out of the pencil. So having that reference has been so helpful and makes picking out colors so much quicker. And I actually did make a chart. It's free on my
Yeah.
website with I did it for all those three brands that I use. And I went through like the different websites and got all the colors, even colors I didn't have, and made like a template for people to like
Awesome.
download it and make
Yeah, I'll have to
their
check
own.
that out because I need to do that. I've introduced color pencils to my daughter who's only
Mm,
6, but
mm,
she loves to draw. She's a drawing kid,
mm,
and she has noticed that, and she
mm.
has gotten so angry
Yeah.
because
Mm.
particularly with like purples and
Oh,
pink, and
yes.
she's
Yeah.
like all about purple and pink, and she's
Hmm.
looking for a specific color, looks at the
Mm.
barrel of the pencil And then when it gets on her paper, she's like, "That's not pink.
Yeah.
That's purple." And I'm like, "Kara, calm down, honey.
I,
You
I
okay?"
can totally relate to that for
She's
sure.
like,
Yes.
"That's terrible." I'm
Yeah.
like, "I
Yeah.
know. I don't know what to tell you." She might have to help me, like, let's make some little squares and color out
Yeah.
these colors because
Yeah.
they're not
Mhm.
right. She'd be all about it. Like, yes, let's do that
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
start. But it's so, I mean, like, even children, even little children,
Mhm.
realize, okay, that's not the color I thought I was getting, and that
Yeah.
it does not look the same on paper. It's
Yeah.
very complicated,
Yeah.
makes it very complicated. So when you're doing your color pencil and everything, do you finish it with anything like spray it or mount
Mhm.
it, or like, I guess you do mostly framing with a mat, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you get those professionally framed or anything? Or are you doing it yourself, kind of? Or how are you going about that?
Mostly I've done so like if I am gonna be in like I got into a show at the that was at the Museum of Fine Art here
Oh,
in
yeah, that's
Montgomery.
cool.
And so for that I did go on and get a professional frame. I
Yeah,
got
yeah,
it professionally framed. And but for the most part I just frame them myself like,
yeah.
I do try to be mindful of like getting acid free
Mm.
mats. I did start I got this really great book. I can't remember. I'll have to look to see what it's called. The Ultimate Guide to Color Pencil. And it's very helpful. Like I think I got it off of thrift books, so it was like it's used, but it's
Sounds
been
familiar, like something I've seen before.
yeah.
A good color pencil book can tell you so much.
Oh yeah.
Have you done any of the like, I'm like getting really into the media here, but what is it like? Some people use like not oils, but like they do
Hmm.
things to like do mixing, like blending. Do you do any kind of interesting blending there, or you just do it with
Yeah.
the pencil? Because that's
Yeah.
what I do. I do the
I've done both. I feel like that's an area that I need to like practice a little bit more. I've tried Gamsol. I've tried
mm,
something called Zestit Pencil Blend, specifically
oh,
for blending color pencil. I tried a blender that they had at Hobby Lobby that was like a liquid
yeah.
blender. And I just feel like,
It makes it more like paint.
yeah, and I mean it
Painting.
cut
I've
it
never done
down.
it, so.
It tends to cause like some dullness. Now, I
Oh,
have started spraying it with I've started so that with the book, The Color Pencil, The Ultimate Guide to Color Pencil, he talked
yeah.
about the importance of spraying it. And, sometimes black color pencil can like get this weird sheen
Film.
on it.
Yeah, like a
And in
waxy.
that book, he was explaining that if you spray it with a fixative, that will improve. And so it did. Like I had one work that was like had a lot of black in it. And so I sprayed it and it all evened out and it looked like all the same.
Oh,
Like black. It didn't have that weird cast thing on it.
okay.
So yeah, so I mean, I feel like when I use the Gamsol or the Zestit pencil blend, it just was making things look kind of dull and flat. Whereas if I just use the Prismacolor, I like the Prismacolor blender the best, just the pencil blender.
Yeah.
And I don't do it over the whole thing. Mainly, I'll do it if there's like a distracting area of a lot of the paper texture still showing.
Mhm.
And I'll just like kind of focus it on that area. But yeah, I haven't
Interesting.
really gotten.
There's so many little techniques out there that
Yeah.
people have figured out over the
Hmm.
years. And I recently joined like the Color Pencil Society something. It's
Yeah.
like a national thing, and they put
Yeah.
out a newsletter and stuff. And I'm like,
Okay.
holy cow, these people know a
Oh,
lot.
yes.
And
Yeah.
there are people that do these ginormous
Mhm.
artworks that are in museums, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
These people are doing color pencil and they're
Yeah.
getting in museums. Like that blows my
Mhm.
mind because I don't know, people treat color pencil sometimes as like a
Yes.
lesser medium,
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Yeah.
But
I've
they,
definitely experienced that.
yeah, like it. I mean,
Mhm.
like, have you had people say that, like, "Oh, it's color pencil," or you just heard it around like
I've
I
just kind
have?
of felt like, so when I've been, I was really surprised that my artwork, because my wildlife artwork sold and it was the only color pencil thing in the show. And
Mm.
so I was kind of surprised because I feel like, everybody kind of holds oil painting and as like
Mm.
in this high esteem. And so when you show up with your color pencil, everybody's like, "Oh, wow, you did that with color pencil. That's cute." Like it's not like it's just kind of downplayed a little bit.
I,
And
I do kind of feel like, and maybe it's because I grew up in the 80s and 90s
mm,
that there, back then it was such a thing. Like that was not
mm.
like a museum quality media.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And that was more like for kids or
Hmm.
students.
Hmm.
And then nowadays I see people doing ballpoint pen
Oh yeah.
art and
Yeah.
very famous artists
Hmm.
doing these ballpoint pen. I'm like, really? Holy cow. Like your medium is a big pen.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yes.
that's really, I think that's great. I think it's cool. I think people
Mhm.
are kind of relaxing on that a bit in
Yeah, I
life.
think so. I think so. I think they're coming around. I think it was just one of those, I think it's just one of those things that people have to see more of, used
Yeah.
to.
Takes time maybe for them to
Hmm.
realize, okay, this does
Yeah.
last. My drawing
Yeah.
didn't go
Mhm.
away in 20
Right.
years,
And I'm
like
not using
disappear.
Crayolas, like I think people think when they think of crayon or color pencil, they think of like Crayola color
Yeah,
pencils. And I'm like,
exactly.
which I mean, you can do a lot with them, but of course, they're not going to last as long. But I mean, if you spray a color pencil drawing,
Yeah.
color for a long
I've
time.
never seen one. I mean, like, I think I still have some from high school, and I don't think I mean, they may be faded a little bit, but not enough for me to be
Yeah.
like, oh no, what happened to this?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I don't. Yeah, I mean, I think the oldest one, because I didn't really start using color pencil until really around 2018.
Oh, wow.
So my first color pencil was 2018. So I
Yeah.
haven't had it that long, but I mean, I haven't
Yeah.
noticed any
Well,
changes
that's
after that.
interesting because, like, that was like in Prattville in school, in high school, that was like a major medium was
Hmm.
Prismacolor color pencils. And we used that for like the majority of our
Mm-hmm.
projects. And I think it was probably the teacher's preference because it wasn't as
Yeah.
messy.
Yep.
And
I can relate to that as a teacher. That was exactly how
yeah.
because I taught high school initially, and I mean, we used everything that I was teaching in Tennessee. When I moved here, I taught middle school,
Yeah.
and it was just I would have huge classes of kids,
Mm,
and it was just too much. So I
yeah.
was like, we're gonna just scale this back a little
Yeah.
bit, and
Paint and palettes and brushes, and then
mhm.
maybe you have one sink if you have a sink at all.
Yeah, and they get nasty and blocked and that was kind of how it was in the school where I really honed in on color pencil. I was teaching in a magnet school and we had one sink. It was a very old building. It got clogged so
Oh,
easily. And I
yeah.
was like, we'll do one painting because I mean, the kids love painting. So I was like, we'll do one painting a year. But for the most part, we did watercolor,
Yeah.
color pencil, and that is where I really started loving color pencil and chalk pastel pencil. It's just chalk pastel is so messy too.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that might be one of the things about color pencil is that I feel like you can get kind of like a painterly
Hmm.
thickness or something to your work, but it's not messy.
Yeah, yeah.
And you can pretty much do it anywhere.
Yes, yes, it's very easy to take with you places, and that is like it's very portable. So that's another reason I really like it because I can take
Mm.
it with me.
Where can people find your work and get in touch with you?
So my website is hellocuteillustrations.com, like hello. And that's where most of my work is. I also have a little bit of a blog on there and I have a newsletter you can sign up for if you want to
Oh,
be
awesome.
like, updated. I like will release my original to my email subscribers first.
Oh, that's
And
interesting.
they'll have about 48 hours to buy it if they want to, and then I'll put it on the actual website. But so the my website's a good place to find me, my work. There's a contact section on there, and I have Instagram. On Instagram, it's hello cute underscore illustrations. Facebook is just Hello Cute Illustrations, and then YouTube is Hello Jennifer Art.
Okay.
So those are all the places.
Wow. Now,
Find
what are
them.
you doing on YouTube there? Are you like teaching things or showing your process, or what are you putting on YouTube?
Mostly just show my process. So I did mostly I think I've been on doing YouTube for a little over a year. And on there, I was just posting a lot of the same stuff that I post on Instagram and Facebook. But recently, because I get a lot more views on YouTube, and so I've kind of been focusing a little bit more on YouTube lately. And I did the last 2 weeks, I did two longer form videos. So one and they were just showing my process. I didn't really do a whole lot of talking in the first one. I think it was like 12 minutes long. And then this past week, it was like a little over 4 minutes. And I did talk more in that one. But, I mean, I've considered doing like tutorials. I'm still kind of trying to figure that out, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Maybe I will.
I think it's wonderful opportunity for people to get to know the
Mm.
artists, I guess, behind their work. Well, thank you so much for talking to me. I've really enjoyed it. Do you have any advice for artists out there?
Advice. Let's see. Wow. I
I know
mean,
question
yeah.
right at the end.
Yeah. I think just, what I tell people. Well, I guess, I coming from, high school, like thinking, oh, I can't be an artist. And even after graduating, thinking, oh, art's just like a side thing.
Yeah.
And of course, I mean, I did the years of teaching, 14 years. And, thankfully, my husband was willing to give me a chance to do art, for myself, like just,
Yeah.
having this business. And so I think just keep trying and also keep trying different things. I mean, for years I only painted. I mean, right out of college, I did a lot of murals.
Oh, wow.
And, I mean, the older you get, that just gets a little taxing on your
Yeah,
body. The last one
absolutely.
I did, I was sore for like a month
Oh my
afterward.
goodness, I believe it.
So, I don't do a whole lot of murals anymore, but just like keep trying out different mediums. I mean, I never thought I would like watercolor, but I really love watercolor. Not as much as colored pencil, but I do really like it. And so I think, just don't be afraid to try different mediums and different styles of art. That's maybe the whole.
Yeah, that's great advice. I think, people can try one thing and really struggle with it, and then they'll be like, well, that wasn't for me, and then just
Yeah,
not try again,
yeah, yeah,
And you never know, like,
yeah.
and for whatever reason, like speaking with other artists, it's like for some reason we're all drawn to some kind of medium or some kind
Mm-hmm.
of subject, and it's
Mm-hmm.
very personal to the artist, and there's
Yeah,
something out there that you're going to be like, what, this is
yeah,
amazing,
yeah,
and then you
yeah.
want to do it all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I
Yeah,
agree.
well, thank you so much for talking to me. Thank you for listening to Art Talk with April. New episodes are out Tuesday at 6 p.m.